good afternoon, good morning, or even good evening from Amsterdam to everybody around the world. We are here in Amsterdam. Next to me here is Julien Lehmann, LeaseWeb CDN and Cybersecurity Manager. Hi Julien, sorry. My name is Willem van Oort and I will be your host today for the cybersecurity webinar by LeaseWeb and Gaming in Holland. This webinar should take approximately 40 minutes, including a short Q&A at the end. Some housekeeping here from our side. This webinar will be recorded. You will receive a link to the recording after the webinar, actually tomorrow. Any questions you can submit through the dialog box on the right side of your screen, and we'll deal with some questions at the end of the webinar. During the webinar, we'll also have some poll questions to you. Just wait and see when that happens. So a little bit about a short introduction. My name is Willem van Oort. We've set up a business community that services the gaming industry in the Netherlands. We are doing that with a daily, weekly news service for free. Our annual conference in June on the 13th and 14th for the 6th time, and with an expo for the first time ever. What is happening in the Netherlands? Just a quick overview. The regulatory development is catching up with the market. Therefore, remote gaming will be regulated in 2018 for licensed operators from Holland and abroad. The casino regime will be modernized, and Holland Casino, now state-owned company, will be privatized and sold to a new owner, with 2 additional licenses being added. Last but definitely not least, new charity lottery licenses have and will be added since the court case last year. In short, very drastic changes that have a strong impact on the industry. Specifically with the regulation of online gaming, the topic of cybersecurity is high on the agenda of the industry here. This is why we partnered with LeaseWeb for this webinar, and I would like to thank the whole LeaseWeb team for their ongoing support in this.
You're most welcome, Willem. What's going to be the plan for today then?
The plan for today, we have an agenda here. We try to keep it short and punchy. We'd like to speak about the DDoS problem, some case studies on both DDoS and web application attacks, bots, the good bots and the bad bots, and then some references for people to read when you go offline later after the webinar. Right now, I'd like to give the floor to Julien.
Thank you, Willem. Thank you. We're going to try to keep this webinar simple to understand, accessible to everyone. We decided to focus on specific cases to understand, what would be, where actually are, the main risks that are currently on the web, and how to deal with those. So we're going to present a couple of examples. Explaining first what DDoS is and then presenting bots. Let me just
tell a little bit about the LeaseWeb.
Exactly, just one slide, to explain who LeaseWeb is. We are, of course, based in the Netherlands. My accent doesn't show it, but we are running about 17 data centers. We have 80,000 servers. We now are celebrating the 20 years of LeaseWeb. And this experience of managing these servers and a 5 terabit per second network is, has been helping us and has forced us to face many DDoS attacks and many kind of attacks, and that's why we want to share this experience with all of you today.
Great.
Just as an example, LeaseWeb is a very, I would say, technical company, so we have lots of customers that are highly, high IT driven and internet professionals. You can see, Algolia in France that is running a very interesting service of DNS. We have Crytek, Giant Swarm gaming companies, Roblox, but as well Topdesk or other company edges that are running a SaaS.
Interesting.
And what we would like to do today is explain you about DDoS attack and what are they? They've been doing the headlines lately, and what I would like to start with, if you agree, is to do a poll, so that we do it very interactive, and we can ask you first some question, and then we can tune a little bit our pitch according to the answer that we get today.
Exactly. To get it, keep it a little bit interactive, everybody at home, you'll see a question popping up in the screen now. Please do click on the question you think is most relevant for you. Have you experienced a DDoS attack in the last 6 months? So have you as a company experienced a DDoS attack in the last 6 months? Click one of the 3 answers, yes, but we managed without any damage, yes, we had significant impact, or no, we haven't experienced any attacks. We'll look at the outcome in just a second. We get some results rolling in. Luxembourg, can we have your votes, please? Germany.
France. So let's see the result now. We see that 44% of the person responded yes, but we managed without any damage, or 56 responded no, but we haven't experienced any attack. So very interestingly, 0% actually mentioned, none of you mentioned that they had significant impact with the DDoS attack, which is great. It won't last. Get ready, because these attacks are getting bigger and bigger, and they are, more numerous than ever. We see very interestingly a couple of trends. Let me just touch a word on it on the DDoS side. 1 second. What we see is mainly a couple of trends that are really important for you to remember. First, the attack, are easier than ever to perform. They are as well constant. So even if you think that you are not getting attacked, your servers are constantly scanned for vulnerabilities, and this is really interesting. We see that people are protecting themselves better at specific time of the year, but the attack and the scan for vulnerability is constant. Attacks are getting more sophisticated. We're going to show some very interesting example of attack, and as well, they are easier than ever to perform. There are plenty of tools available. The impact of a DDoS attack, we see actually from our experience, what we get as a feedback from our 15,000 customers is that for small companies we see a lot of loss of critical information. And that's the most valuable loss that you can get. If you lose critical information, or if you leak, critical information, this is the reputation of your brand that's at stake. And when this happens, then you have to react very quickly. So you tend to go to the very expensive solution, but you have kind of no choice. You need to get this problem solved very quickly, and the scarcity of human resources, of qualified human resources to solve those security issues, is forcing you to pay a tremendous amount when, if you had planned a little bit more in advance, you could have avoided those expenses by having very simple rules in order to protect yourself from the most common problem that might occur. What we see as well is that when we experiment, when we have a customer experimenting DDoS, typical ISPs are not answering the way you might want them to expect. If you are in a normal hosting company, they would want to protect you a little bit. They would want to protect themselves first. So if you are hosted with a typical hosting company, not LeaseWeb, fortunately, they would null route you. So if you get a DDoS attack to your server, it's filling up the data center pipe with attacks, and then the data center is getting less and less performing for all the other customers. So there are collateral damage that the attack on your site is generating for all the other customers of the hosting company. And the hosting company tend to do this null routing, so they cut your IP. We fortunately have changed this, and we are protecting now for free all our customers from DDoS attack. And this is what you should expect from your hosting company. But just so that you understand, the typical pattern of a hosting company would be to cut your IP. What are the main category of attack? And I would like to spend a couple of seconds on this. There are, of course, for the guys who know the OZ layers, there are layer 2, that is a network, layer 2, that is transport, layer 3, network, and then the other layer, layer 7, that is application, and then we speak of layer 2, layer 3 attack, or layer 7 attack. So let me just...
Not too technical, please.
Exactly. Let's just keep it simple. So decided to keep three types of attacks. So the volume-based attack, which is the first type of attack where the attacker will fill up the pipe, fill up the network access to your server with so many data that the pipe will be full and the site will not be accessible for the other person. So this is typically attacks that are measured in bit per second. Typically, ICMP flood, UDP flood. These are the attacks where, when you read in the newspaper, 600 gigs attacks, this is the kind of attack. You fill up the pipe until no one else can access the system. There is a second type of attacks, a protocol attack, which are draining the resources of your servers. So they are not actually filling up the pipe, they are making so many requests to your load balancer, to your firewall, to your servers, that they are making sneaky requests, that are staying open on the server, that the server is getting overloaded with requests, and then the resources are not available. The network pipe is not full, but the server capacity is overloaded, and then there is no more response from the server. So typically, ping of death, SYN flood, Smurf DDoS, these are the kind of attacks that we count in packet per second. So depending on the number of packets per second, we send more and more packets per second, and then the resources of the servers are drained. And then the last kind of attack, which are on the rise. So if you see currently, 90% of the attack are volume-based attacks. That's very clear. But the 10% that are left is split between protocol attack and application layer attack. And actually, we see more and more sophisticated attack mixing up the three of them. But this last one, the application layer attack, are very sneaky because a volume-based attack, it's easy to spot. You see it right away. Your pipe is full. That's it. Your server is down. So easy to spot, hard to block because you need to be able to clean up the traffic. So you need to have expensive servers, scrubbing center in order to really block those attacks. The application layer attack are very sneaky. They do specific requests to extract data from your servers, from your database, extract credentials, credit card request, credit card details, user logging, and they are difficult to spot, but relatively easy to block if you identify them. So volume-based attack, easy to spot, hard to block. Application layer attack, hard to spot, easy to block.
Okay, great.
And of course, lately we've seen Dyn attacks. So DDoS have been using a Mirai botnet. I'll speak a bit more about what's a botnet. The Dyn attack, first I think it was OVH attack, about 1 terabit per second of traffic went to OVH data center, which brought them down. Then we've seen an attack going to Dyn, which is a DNS provider in the US of many famous websites, and by attacking the DNS, all the servers that are using those DNS servers went down as well. And it's very interesting to see that you go from a simple group of friends, that were doing attacks to a website, to the mobilization of all the Internet of Things, all the connected devices that are available in the US to focus an attack on servers. So the wave, this new wave of attack using Internet of Things is really something very noticeable on the market.
Yeah, I think you have a good example of that later. I think it's really interesting insight. We try to make it also relevant for the gaming and iGaming professionals here. And what we see here is a tweet from William Hillstafer, who it looks, or at least I make it look like he just pulled an overnighter. It's been a long night. We got services back, but we're still not at 100%. Now, what happened there, we read it immediately at Kelvin Eyre. William Hill website knocked offline by sophisticated DDoS attack. Now, clear example for the industry. What was the consequence of that? The Register UK published a small article on that, and they said, considering the H1 revenue, this could have cost William Hill 4.4 million sterling, although the true figure is likely to be less, as the outage detected only its online services and not during a large sport event. Of course, this does not take into consideration some of the other factors you had in on the brand, on the trustworthiness, and perhaps people that simply went to other bookies to register for a site. So just a relevant example for the
I think
gaming
it's a
side.
very good example indeed for the gaming industry. I've noticed as well this one that was a couple of weeks ago, end of January, so maybe 4 weeks ago. Very interesting actually how sophisticated it's becoming. So this is a hotel that has been ransomed. So and it's typical case, ransomware is something that is spreading. So we see a lot of customers that are requested couple of Bitcoin. Here it's more than a couple, they ask for 1,000 of Bitcoin in order to avoid an attack, in order not to have their data leaked on the market. So this is ransom. So I send you an email, I tell you, look, pay me now, otherwise I will hurt you, and then I do maybe a 15 minutes demonstration. And in this hotel in Austria, it was pretty original, so they blocked all the room of the hotel.
Incredible.
Incredible. So all the customers were actually locked out of their room. They could not penetrate anymore into their room, and they blocked it completely. Hotel brought, all the system of the reservation, the system of management of the room of the hotel went down, and they had actually to change all their internal servers and infrastructure in order to reinstall something that would work.
Yeah, very unsuspect business, you would think. I was
yes.
surprised.
And it's true. In casino, I think they are usually located into hotels, and this is the kind of attack that we could foresee in the future. Where
people had to go back to a casino.
Exactly. Another kind of attack. This one.
Here that happened beginning of 2015. What happened there? PokerStars was under attack by a bot, and the suspect was that the 1.5 million pot was won by a bot. Now, of course, PokerStars, strong company, good team. They immediately launched an investigation, and they said we would crack down on bots. You would see that this is very close. This is a website that is the market leader in poker, and as we spoke about the good bots and the bad bots, these are clearly the bad bots attacking the poker industry.
Yeah, basically they were simulating players, right? They were going on the table, simulating players and trying to communicate their information between players on the same table and then trying to win over.
Exactly. Since poker is a pooled game, all the players were, of course, the losers of this, because then the pot went to the bot, unfortunately.
Incredible. And we've seen now there is even now more and more artificial intelligence effort going into poker and how to win over poker, because it's not a completely hazardous game. Actually, you can if you do the right calculation, you can win. And so we can imagine bots using artificial intelligence playing poker on behalf of hackers that are trying to bring down some sites. Another example that is very interesting as well. So this is for an airline, and this is using our web application firewall solution. So we have a domain protection solution at LeaseWeb, and so we've detected a strange request going to an airline website, and we analyzed what was the request about. So if you look a little bit here, exactly, you will see that we analyze the request, and we see that the request is actually simulating the reservation of a seat in a flight. So they are selecting the carrier, selecting the departure time, selecting the destination, selecting the price, and then at the moment of paying, they stop, they go out. And by doing this request, and they were doing a lot of requests to this airline, by doing this request, it's just reserving all the seat of the flight. And then the new normal users that are looking for their flight ticket, they see that these flights are full and they go to another airline, which is the competition. And we can imagine that competition is trying to hack the site of their competitor airline by filling up all the seats with a bot, by reserving the seat. And it's I think it shows here that, and this is as well the expression of what I wanted what I was starting to express at the beginning. The waves of attack are evolving to more and more sophisticated features. We see that the bots that were first, a couple of years ago, they were just doing requests. Now they are following the process of purchasing a flight ticket, which is really, I can think of a lot of applications where
Of course.
you can hit your competitor with such bots. Let me just say a few more words about bots, because I think it's really interesting that everyone understands the impact, and we are now developing more and more services towards the protection and the selection of the right bots against the bad bots. And so what's a bot? A bot is typically a software program that runs automated tasks over the internet and typically perform simple and repetitive tasks. So the most famous bot, the most famous one actually, is the crawler of Google. So Google is going to all the websites, analyzing the text, analyzing the title of the page, analyzing the speed of the page, because the speed as well as an interest, analyzing the number of links going to this page, and according to this algorithm, this does a ranking of the site. So this is typically a good bot. As a publisher, you want the Google crawler to go on your page and to rank you as high as possible, and you will even do plenty of tricks in order to to go higher in the ranking. Bing is doing the same, Microsoft, Yahoo, Baidu in China. So those bots are necessary evil. You want to have them going to your site so that you're ranking. Yeah, it's a good bots. But what we see is that, in fact, on a website, actually, on a normal website, you will see that 61% of your traffic, when you do the analysis of your traffic, is actually non-human, just bot. And 31% of your traffic is actually done by those crawlers, so search engine crawlers. And 20% is done by others, and for some reason. There are always, so sometimes it's analytics tool, sometimes it's just publicity. They want to analyze your site before sending the right publicity, cookie handling. So this is just to show you so many automated tasks are going on your website that your traffic is actually mostly generated by bots, and the minority now is generated by humans. So a couple of examples of funny bots that I could find lately. So I particularly like the idea of being able to chat with Miss Piggy using in-person chatbot. But it's true that with many of communication or news sites, reservation site, IKEA, when you ask questions, when you can chat with the company that you have question for, you're actually probably not chatting with a person, but chatting with a bot that has a search engine behind it, and that a way to answer you in a human-like manner, but they are not human. A typical example of TechCrunch, when you are chatting with TechCrunch, you're actually chatting with a bot behind TechCrunch answering to your question. So it's very useful to cut costs for the company. Yeah. You don't want to have this huge call center. You are just relying on bots in order to answer to your customers' requests. But it as well can be used in a evil manner, and the way it works usually is that bot herders are controlling a huge botnet, so a robot network botnet, via a control server, a command and control server, so C2, and then those botnet will, at the moment the herder has decided, have a certain behavior towards a certain website in order to extract as much value as possible. So it can be DDoS, it can be cross-site scripting to extract information from the database, it can be a remote file injection, it can be SQL injection. All these attacks that are actually now making use of botnet, and this is the usage that is spreading currently. Typically, I wanted to speak about smarter bot, and you know that usually to block a DDoS and to block and to verify that a person is a human before accessing a website, before doing a purchase, you have this reCAPTCHA. And Google was, providing this reCAPTCHA, so you are shown letters that are a bit distorted, and then you need to recognize those letters in order to be able to verify that you are a human. And they found out at Google that the bots are getting so smart that they are able to read those letters even though they change the shape. So that's really interesting to see that in order to fight those bots that are able to read the letters, they came up with a no captcha reCAPTCHA. And basically because humans move their cursor in a human-like way, we are able to identify when a robot is actually clicking on the box. And that's really cool, you know. So now the CAPTCHA is not showing any letter. You don't have to recognize anything. Of course, if there is any doubt on your way you clicked, you will have to recognize images. But the normal way, just the way you go to the box, is able to differentiate human from robot. And this is very interesting way of the way the solution to fight bot are evolving. So we are adapting. We're of course we don't want to enter too much into the details into the solution and what we can propose to protect you. That's not the purpose of this webinar. We have plenty of time. We'll share some links about it. But I think it would be interesting first to remember this sentence of Albert Einstein, you know, intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. And I would like to maybe propose another question to the audience so that we can see, okay, who of you are actually trying to prevent problems? And
exactly. So for those who joined you in the last minutes, we saw a few more people joining. There are poll questions that you can participate in. And this second poll question here is, do you have a dedicated IT security department or a chief security officer in your company? Click the answer you fit best. Yes, this is a full-time job, or no, this is done by somebody on the side. So this poll is now only being answered by participants of this webinar here. So please click the most relevant answer for you so we can see.
And that would be interesting. I think a couple of years ago, I don't know yet the answer, but a couple of years ago, it would be a side job. It's a side job. You know, the guys who is smart in the team, he would be able to take care with security issues. He would be able to handle those requests. There would be maybe a little alarm, a firewall tuning. That would be one of the sysadmin that would take care of it, and that's it. And today,
I think your answer, so the answer of the audience reflects that. So 78% of the participants say yes, this is a full-time job, and 22% the minority, as you said no, this is done by somebody.
So there is this clear shift, you know, and everyone can feel this shift. Very smart. Let me just put one more words on the way we deal with this problem. So as I was speaking of categories of attack, we are categorizing as well the solution that we promote here in LeaseWeb. So we have one solution to protect your IPs. And typically for gaming companies, when you all connect to a single server, then you want these servers to be really protected from IP attacks and from being flooded with requests. And then when we have another solution for domain protection, and the domain protection is more when you are running a club, or when you are, having user password membership, and they are paying, a subscription fee. You don't want those names going out, or those credit card credentials going out. And then we protect the domain and we protect the data against data leaches, data breaches that are taking on. So we really separated one solution to protect the infrastructure and the other solution to protect the data that you have. And it's this solution of on-premise and cloud-based cybersecurity platform that we are able to protect our customers. We have as well this, an amazing team. Of course, I can only be proud of it. That is able to be at the side of our customers. Couple of links. We'll be sharing those links. So these are for those who want to have more details. I think it's interesting to watch those videos. We made a couple of webinars that are much more technical, where we do a demonstration of a live DDoS attack. We are presenting as well some of our partners with who we are working with, and some as well tutorial on the tools that we are
exactly.
promoting.
So for those who logged in after the start of this webinar, these links will all be shared to you within 24 hours with the full recording of the webinar. So don't try to write down the URLs.
No, don't try to write down the URLs.
They'll be sent to you, so just bear with us. So we are 30 minutes into the webinar. We've had some people logging on at the second stage of the webinar, so we are slowly getting to the end of this, but not before we perhaps.
Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you, Julien, for speaking here. Again, you see our email addresses here on the page. If there's any questions, either you can let us email us directly or through the presentation that you'll receive tomorrow. Do we have any questions from the floor?
Yes, I see already a question. So is it true that most DDoS attacks are being used more as a diversion technique to exhaust company resources, and what are these exactly? So this is a sophisticated attack that I was mentioning. So typically there are a couple of reasons you want to perform an attack. There is war and state war. So two states trying to disturb the other state. There is as well activism. So if you want to fight against an organization for political reason. And there is as well the third one that is just spying, so economical spy or financial extortion. And for financial extortion, what we see is that one way to reach this the purpose is to launch a huge DDoS attack, and in the meantime, while all the guys in the company of the victim are trying to fight the DDoS attack, you're actually penetrating the server and stealing data without the guys knowing about it. So there is this sophistication and indeed, so we see the combination of DDoS and cross-site scripting, combination of DDoS and SQL injection, combination of cross-site scripting and malware. Typically, those are the emails that you're receiving or on Skype when you're asked to click on a link. Typically, when you click on the link, you're just opening your opening a gate on your laptop to the hacker to access all the data of your company. So these are typically the attacks that we see on this market.
Quite clear. Quite clear. Looking here, so. Within the webinar tool, you see your screen, there's a tab where you can ask questions. Maybe last question before we wrap up the webinar.
Yes, we see.
You're welcome, Stein.
We see more questions. So what's a cross-site scripting attack? So that's a very, a more technical one, but basically this is going three ways. So there is the attacker, and I can show it this way. When you go on a website and you ask for your details, sometimes you go to the website, and there is a contact page where it's asked for your name, your last name, your question. So instead of entering your name, your last name, and your first name, and your question, instead of the question, you will enter a command line. And this command line goes to the website because it's just a possibility provided by the website itself that you can post a comment. And this command line is going to be sent to the front end of the website, and it will run the command, and this command will return all the login password of the database. It's incredible how we use, actually, we go around the firewalls. The firewall can do nothing because it's a possibility offered by the website to enter your comment, and then this comment is actually a command line extracting the login password of the database, and then you as the author, you are returned all the login password. As simple as that. It's incredible.
That's incredible. I never heard of that.
Yeah.
Incredible. Great. And the last question then maybe before we wrap up. So 35 minutes into the webinar.
No, I don't see anything.
Any questions? Please feel free to just ask any question. There's no silly questions here today. Nothing. So I think 35 minutes. Really appreciate the time everybody took to participate in this webinar. Oops. What? Last question here. Can LeaseWeb provide security services also if we have no service with you? Good question.
That's a good question. And indeed, yes, we have. We can provide security services even though you don't have servers hosted with us. So this is part of the philosophy as well of LeaseWeb, so that you can experiment LeaseWeb experience without being already LeaseWeb hosted customer. We are indeed running data center all over the world, but we still have customers that are not hosted with us. And for the domain protection, the way it works is like CDN, it's like the WAF, so it's a redirection of your domain to our platform, our cloud-based platform, and then by redirecting the request, we are inspecting the request and cleaning them up. And so the answer is clearly no, you don't need to be hosted by LeaseWeb in order to be protected by LeaseWeb.
Great. Great. Thank you, Julien.
Thank you.
I think these were the answers for now. We're 40 minutes into the webinar. I guess this wraps the webinar of LeaseWeb and Gaming in Holland today. We would like to thank all of you around the world for participating. If there's any more questions, you can email us at the email addresses you see on the screen right now. And there will be contact details in the wrap of the webinar that you will receive within the next 24 hours as well. And we hope to be in touch at either LeaseWeb or Gaming in Holland. Thank
Absolutely.
you, Julien.
Thank you, Willem.
LeaseWeb.
That was great. Thank you to have some time with you. Thank you very much.